Well, hello, Abby Vine. It's a totally new year. We're in a new venue, and I want to talk to you about something that really matters to me. I want to talk to you about the presence of God. I want to talk to you about my experiences with increasing His activity in my life and what I'd like to do about doing it together corporately. You see, 4 years ago, I made a resolution, and that was to spend 10 minutes a day every day for at least 40 days, just paying attention to His activity inside of me. I loved the exercise of paying attention to His activity because I often found that when I paid attention, it seems that He was actually doing something, and that was exciting. And I could have little dialogues with the Lord saying, well, what if it seems like you're doing this inside of me, what does that mean? I would pay attention to the pictures that popped into my head and have conversations with the Lord about them, asking the Lord more questions, and then paying attention to how I might feel about what His answer might be, and then checking that out with Him and saying, Lord, do you mean this? And paying attention to other thoughts and pictures that came as a result of that question, and just having this dialogue with the Lord. I committed to doing that for 40 days, and by the time I was done, I didn't want to stop, and I still do it today. One of the things that I noticed is that during that time, I had better times praying with people. I could more clearly see what the Lord was doing in them. I guess it only makes sense, really. I was practicing having conversations with the Lord about what He was doing inside of me, and so it wasn't then that difficult to have conversations with the Lord about what He was doing inside of someone else. When I came to BC to do my master's, I had a very foolish fear. My fear is that I wouldn't have time for 10 minutes a day with the Lord. Now that's obviously silly. Of course I have time for 10 minutes a day with the Lord. But back then, I was nervous that I didn't. So I made a deal with the Lord. I said, well, Lord, what if I prayed during my morning commute to school? I actually felt that the Lord was okay with the plan. And so that's what I did. I just prayed during my 40-minute bike ride to university. Sometimes it's kind of hard to really focus in prayer when you're biking. And so sometimes I just did what I could, which was pray in tongues. The Lord gave me the gift of tongues a little while ago, and so I was able to utilize that. I wasn't always sure that these sort of semi-focused prayer times were meaningful, at least at first. But after a while, I noticed something. When I got to church on Sunday, my ability to enter into His presence was stronger than it ever had been. That I was able to join right into worship immediately. I had sometimes very emotional times with the Lord. And when I looked around the room, it didn't seem like that was something that other people were experiencing. It was just me. It seems that, even though I was distracted, of course, during my bike commute compared to how it had been when I'd set aside focused time, nevertheless, 40 minutes is significantly longer than 10 minutes. And that was making a difference in my ability to enter into the Lord's presence. When I started working for Abbotsford Vineyard, I wasn't biking to university anymore. And so I decided to try taking walks, just walk with the Lord. Sometimes I'd walk an hour. Sometimes, if I could afford it, 2 hours. And sometimes I felt like I just wanted to keep going, and I made it for 3. And I still do some kind of thing like that today. Now I was spending more time with the Lord again. And now I noticed something else. That my mind would wander even more often. Sometimes the Lord would interrupt my thoughts. That I would actually yell out a word. I might be thinking something and I would yell out, yes! Or no. It seemed like actually the Lord was responding to my thinking giving me a yes or a no. So I decided to follow up, and if the Lord had said yes, or I thought the Lord had said yes to something I was thinking of doing, I would do that thing. And if I thought he had said no, I would not do that thing. And I found that that actually had good fruit, that the things that I thought the Lord had said yes to that I did turned out well. And it turned out better when I didn't do the things that the Lord had said no to. It seemed like the Lord was actually communicating with me to a greater and more forceful degree than he ever had in my life. And that seemed to be related to the time that I'd spent with the Lord. This fall, we had an event called Spikenard. It was a chance to emulate Mary, who brought a perfume that was actually called Spikenard and poured it over Jesus. And it was a chance to just bring whatever we had to Jesus, our prayers, ourselves, our worship, our songs. Before that meeting, I was able to get there a little earlier, and I suppose I probably prayed in the barn for about 2.5 hours before it started. Now I was doing something different. I was actually praying on site before the meeting. When the meeting began, it seemed like there was a kind of a luminescence over the event. It wasn't that I could see it glowing. It was more that I felt that things were glowing. I interviewed everyone who came to the event afterwards, and they all said that they felt the presence of God was there during the meeting. One person actually said that he normally doesn't feel the presence of God when others do, but on this occasion, he did feel the presence of God. I actually remember driving home from that meeting and thinking, wow, if we were meeting again tomorrow, I would come. Wouldn't matter if I was leading it or not. I would just come. Because my goodness, there is something so incredibly invigorating and soothing and peaceful and joyful, but also calming about the presence of God. And also, it's very clarifying. Of course, we don't only just want to be chasing after feelings. That's often not helpful. In fact, it can be very, very dangerous. But sometimes I think that a good way to live our lives as Christians is to just look for the next breadcrumb. What's the Lord doing now in my life? And follow that up and ask for more of whatever good things the Lord is giving us and proceed with them. So if it seems that there's an opportunity to talk to our neighbor, that we follow that up and we talk to them. And if it seems that there's favor at work, that we follow that up and we take the promotion and we allow the Lord to operate through us that way. If it seems that our Bible reading is going well, we do more of that and see if we can learn more from our Bible reading. I'm reminded, when I think about the presence, I'm reminded of Moses in the desert. He was really frustrated in Exodus 33 because, the people had sinned. But as frustrated as Moses was, God was more frustrated. In fact, he was concerned because with his holiness and the fact that they were, as he called them, stiff-necked, unwilling to bow to his yoke, he was concerned that in his wrath, he might kill them. And he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to kill the Israelites. So he told Moses that he would send an angel instead of going with them himself. And that way they could still get to where they needed to go, but not suffer damage as a result of their lack of obedience. But Moses is interesting about that, because he doesn't want to substitute for the Lord. He wants the Lord himself. And so he says, Lord, if you don't go with us, let's not even go. But Lord, go with us. And the Lord relents and says, oh, well, then I will go with you. And so the Lord himself leads his people. And it is the Lord's presence that gives them clarity on where to go next and what to do. We're going to a new place. I'm excited about it. But if the Lord's not there, I don't really want to go there. But if the Lord is there, he'll give us clarity on what to do, how long to stay there, what to do next. And so I'd like you to join with me in the next little while for really praying for the Lord's presence in our new place. In fact, if you're able to join me at 3:00 on Sunday, which is probably today if you're watching this on Sunday. And we'll pray through the space together that the Lord's presence would be there. I think if he's with us, we're willing to go anywhere. Large buildings, small buildings. But if he's not, there's nothing to distinguish us from really any other club. So let's pray that he come with us, because I know he's willing, despite our sinfulness. After all, Jesus' death paid for all of that. So now the Lord can come with us.